Hey y'all, we are back with another dense update. This update is sponsored by Biomax Peptides. Here we go. Will Moorad sat down with Rich Froning, Angelo DiCicco, and Austin Malioso. We all knew this was coming. The first 6 to 7 minutes is, the usual foreplay, small talk, chit chat. But then
gonna be number one.
They gotta hate something, I guess.
Dude, everybody hates everybody.
Yeah.
I really truly think that Will has convinced himself.
Why does everybody hate us? Well, they gotta hate something.
Nobody wants to hate anything. We don't wake up every day thinking, oh shit, what can I hate on today? But we also don't live in Pleasantville.
There's a place where life is simple. People are perfect.
We're not going to blow smoke up your ass, pat you on the back, and tell you everything you're doing is just fine and dandy. And we're not going to sit back quietly while people who have leached off of the ecosystem for well over a decade then use a tragedy as a catalyst to very deliberately create this rival thing against the CrossFit Games.
It is competitive to the other seasons, to the game season, right?
I think it's very different, though.
All under the guise of, we want to support the athletes. We just want to serve the athletes.
Into a full season and try to serve the athletes and the community in a way that
we care about the athletes.
Just like I said, I mean, they hated CrossFit before we popped up. So.
Yeah, that's true.
They hated CrossFit? What? Bro, the reason that we are all here doing this is because of CrossFit, because of our love for CrossFit. We don't hate it. They who? Could you be more specific? Please elaborate. Can somebody ask a follow-up question? I think it's actually Will projecting how he feels towards the sport and organization that he did for so long and just never reached the goals that he wanted to reach. When CrossFit does things that we don't like changed handstand push-up standards 3 years in a row for the Open, yeah, we have some thoughts about it. When Jacob Hepner doesn't make the games that year because it's pretty ridiculous and he chooses to show some integrity, do the right thing, do it to the standard that they set. Yeah, we have some thoughts about it, but don't get it twisted. Nobody hates CrossFit. Not even you. You don't hate it. Fellner doesn't hate it. Brian doesn't hate it. Tommy. I mean, maybe Sporty Beth, but y'all don't hate it. You need it. You know that
they're CrossFit athletes.
Right, we're serving the same.
It's the same community. I mean, WFP doesn't exist without CrossFit.
Of course.
Right? That's just because of the nature of the beast there.
Rich talks about, it was a muddy time and everybody needed a target. No, they needed a target. And Dave was their target. Their side got angry, got emotional, demanded someone's livelihood. And then Will creates this thing as if he just hit the lottery and grabbed all his buddies and ran down to the strip club with his stack of hungies, just making it rain and getting all his buddies lap dances. I mean, come on, Will. This is why people don't respect you. And I'm not even 15 minutes into this podcast. 11 minutes into the podcast, he says.
What was out there in the space was never going to be enough to serve more athletes. True. And I think we were able to execute on that pretty well.
He also sung a very different song back in 2016.
Yeah, the games were so much fun, man. It's such an amazing experience, and it's what I strive for every day training. I mean, that's the goal. There's a lot of events throughout the year, but...
So what is it? Is there too little opportunities? I mean, we know now there's too many opportunities, and the athletes don't want to do all of them.
There's a lot of events throughout the year, but...
We're in a unique situation that we hear on a day-to-day basis from the athletes. They're just beat down, you do want, there's a fine line of wanting more opportunity, being able to go more places to compete, having the opportunity to make more money, but also competing every weekend, all year round.
And then he says,
and then the narratives that were out there, which are frankly pretty much bullshit, are going to be out there no matter what.
Gives no examples. What narratives? Oh, please elaborate. Scott, this is where you come in, buddy. Angelo, anybody. I just want one podcast where they sit down, have a discussion as if the camera is not even there. Now, Austin Malioso pushes a little bit.
So what does that look like? What does that work in the sense of, hey, we're a CrossFit competition or, we're an evolution of the CrossFit Games. How would you articulate if you had free reign of...
You'd have to have a conversation with HQ and
assume you don't have
but this is all
theoretical.
It's just smoke and mirrors. I mean,
But we're living in a world of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, I think we'd have to come to terms with CrossFit and see how we wanted to do that. And I think if you want to talk about sport, then there would have to be some type of marrying together of the seasons.
And he says there's been a lot of conversations between CrossFit.
There's been a lot of conversations around that, and it just hasn't come together yet. I'm not going to say that's never going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
This isn't a narrative that anyone's trying to paint. You went on a podcast with Pedro.
Have you had any conversations with those guys?
No, I mean, not for any other reason than just we haven't. It's just another option. I don't know, just did Rogue or Wadapalooza or all these other events ask CrossFit to run their competitions? Like,
It's a little bit different. Rogue works with and sponsors the CrossFit Games, and I guarantee you there were conversations had between Rogue and CrossFit, and the Wadapalooza was a licensed CrossFit event. Very different, but I see why you're trying to pull in that.
Separate businesses.
Right.
There's a lot of people that have to answer. Like if there's people within those companies that we mentioned that want to do it, there's people above them that might not want to.
Right.
This was another moment for a great follow-up question, because what we know is that Dave Castro mentioned on a Weekend Review a while back that Heber and Mars tried to facilitate a conversation between the WFP and CrossFit, and they ghosted CrossFit.
They've pretty much expressed no interest in communicating with us. Heber and Marson tried negotiating a call with them, and we had something scheduled twice, and both times they pulled out. So no dialogue with them currently. In the future, maybe there could be. I don't know if they want that. I hear rumors that they don't.
And then we heard Roger say, oh, well, we're talking with people at CrossFit now. Well, yeah, that was after 2 failed events and desperation. But you can't backpedal now. You can't make it a triple crown or a major or all these things that you're thinking you want to do after everything that's already been done. You brush it off as if, oh, I had to do this because the athletes didn't know what was going to happen. And we didn't know if it was going to make it, if there would even be a games. Bullshit. I call bullshit on that. That's your bullshit narrative that you created in your head, because you thought that there was going to be enough uproar and enough boycotting that was going to remove everyone from the game season to your thing.
And then we're also whoring out the fan base in the sense of like, which one do they go to?
Did Austin just say whoring out or horning out? And this part here just really, it pisses me off.
They support the people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The methodology, whatever you want to call it. Like we were doing CrossFit probably before it was called CrossFit.
Yeah.
Like growing up at IMG, when I went to high school there, we were doing a lot of mixed like training.
Yep.
Will, do you hear yourself talking? Just completely downplaying everything that CrossFit is and what it's done for the fitness industry. You know, CrossFit just had its 25th anniversary of the first WOD posted to CrossFit.com. And that was back in 2001. Willie Boy here, born in 89. He would have been a freshman in high school in 2003, 2004. You're a soccer player. You were doing sports specific training, technical work, ball mastery, sprints up and down the field, maybe some traditional bodybuilding. You weren't doing dumbbell thrusters and double unders and toe to bar muscle ups. You weren't doing that kind of stuff when you were doing soccer.
Whenever we were just laying around, we just watched videos about Chris Spieler and Rich Froning and all these guys demoing movements. That's how he learned all of the movements that he now has perfected.
So don't try to act as if whatever it is that you were doing was CrossFit before it was CrossFit. Also, CrossFit was about 5 years ahead of your high school days anyway. The online qualifiers, Rich had some thoughts about that.
Everybody's burnt out on online qualifiers.
Yep.
They talk about the swimming events at World Fitness Project, and Will admits that the athletes were not fond of 2 back-to-back swim workouts.
Yeah, the double points on the swim. Yeah, they didn't like that, which I hear them out. That's fine.
Will does also mention on earlier in the podcast that they aren't really affiliating gyms anymore.
Yeah.
As a company, are you guys still affiliating gyms, or what's as that kind of?
Not really.
So if you're not affiliating and now your North Star is just the sport aspect, you have to know where your fans are coming from. And I think you figured that out this year. Your fans come from the CrossFit affiliate community mostly, and people who are really involved in the sport. So putting your online qualifier for your first tour stop the week before the CrossFit Open, to me, that's a very deliberate and calculated move. Scott asks Will, what they learned from the first season of WFP and what would they change and try to work on for the next season. And it's all just mostly internal communication. So if that was the case, why did you change so many different things for this upcoming season? And in the Barbell Spin article of the key takeaways from the podcast, they mentioned that 70% of the athletes accepted their pro contracts for the 2026 season. That means at least 12 athletes have declined. Now we know of Dallin Pepper, Ricky Garrard, Justin Medeiros, Jeff Adler. That's 4 on the men's field. We know Lucy Campbell on the women's side is not doing it. Brooke Wells, who was retiring. So there's going to be another 6 females in the top 20 who declined. And you already don't have Alex Kazan, Danielle Brandon, Alexis Raptis, the athletes that didn't go to the finals. So that absolutely just decimates the field there. So now looking at the season ahead, you're looking at a field of mostly semifinal athletes and just a couple of games athletes. What I gathered from this podcast is that Will is essentially going to die on the hill. He's going to carry that pride with him and that ego with him until the wheels fall off and they run out of money, the sponsors all go away, and they lose all the big name athletes. And we're talking about millions of dollars that these investors have just entrusted him with. I mean, I don't care how rich I was. I'm not lighting money on fire like that. There's one other thing towards the end. Austin jokes around about the paychecks and the taxes for the season. And Will, again, just shrugs it off and makes a joke about it.
Oh, yeah, the taxes.
Yeah, taxes.
The taxes.
Yeah. What, the taxes
Different
in
ways
Denmark?
of life.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, that's the, it's like.
Yeah, I think, like, I'm not a finance guy, but I think there's probably a workaround because technically there wasn't a prize purse for the finals. There was a prize purse for the season. But so if anybody knows how to do that, maybe tell our athletes.
Your point is a Europe thing, though.
Interesting.
Right? But like I said, I'm not doing the taxes.
You plan this whole entire thing and you guys didn't even know or prepare for what was going to happen with prize money. And
Your point is a Europe.
gosh, I hope that is a joke. I hope you are kidding, but I have a feeling you're not. And that's pretty much it. I mean, if you read some of the comments, nice job, Austin, for pushing. I agree. No one organization has run 3 world-class events in a single year, bro. Who ran all those regional events at the same time, back-to-back weekends all over the globe for many years? And I had to ask somebody at CrossFit just to be sure. I wasn't just making this up in my head that CrossFit didn't run African regional, Asia regional, Australia regional, Canada East regional, Canada West regional, Central East, Europe regional, Latin America, Mid-Atlantic, North Central regional, Northeast, North California regional, Northwest regional, South Central regional, Southeast regional, South California regional, Southwest regional, all ran by CrossFit and streamed all across the globe. And Will's over here saying,
We did 3 events in 8 months. I mean, that's wild. That's unheard of. And especially at the level that we executed them at. So a very small amount of time that we were able to execute 3 world-class events. And that's never been done in the space before by one unified company. So
come on. I just can't with this guy. Hiller and Dents are going to have a feast. I wasn't even hungry either. Will is somehow butthurt over CrossFit. Wish he'd just say why. Not a fan of this guy. Seems the goalpost changes just like he does with the wind. The lack of honesty is palpable. Dang, dude, just be real. This is why WFP catches so much criticism. Will, I want you to win and I want you to succeed in your adventure. But brother, you need to show more enthusiasm and you need to sell this better. The biggest draw card of the games for the years was its ability to convince us all it was the test to find the fittest on earth. You need that same enthusiasm. Yeah, I agree. Will got thrown several lifelines in this, and then he just tossed them away. Yes. I honestly try to be objective about WFP, but Will makes it really hard. Why can't he just be straight up and honest? Never answering any question, just continually skirting around them. The Sevon crew is going to destroy this vato. He cannot and will not be upfront. Well, we're not trying to destroy anybody here. We are just calling out all the contradictions and really stupid things that this guy continually says on podcasts. when he has every opportunity to just maybe tell the truth.
Will did an absolutely bang-up job of making them look worse than he did before they went into that podcast by talking out both sides of his mouth. I 100% understand why he wouldn't have done this any sooner.